Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
Recording, and if you want to move it to being live on your own page or whatever. Okay, we're going to record, and we're recording now.
Perfect.
Okay. Hello, everybody on Facebook. Yippee! We got my beautiful daughter Courtney with us today. So, do you want to start us out, Miss Dr. Deborah?
Yes, I'd like to start us off with a couple of things, actually. This is called the CodPast because we explore our fishy past to hook our brilliant future, and fishy past does not mean a negative thing. A friend of ours said the first 50 years is research and development, and it's not shame. So, you know what?
I love that.
Isn't that nice? We are here. I also wanted to take a moment to be grateful for this free country that we live in. And I have my brother's flag here. He sacrificed his life, not in the war, but he was a veteran. And it just reminds me how much I love America. And I'm excited for this weekend to honor her. I also have a fishy joke.
Well, what about our song that your daughter did for us?
That my daughter did for us. Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
Thank you,
perfect.
Shelby.
Oops. And then Laura comes on and I always mess that up. Yeah, so that was Shelby doing our introduction, and she is actually starring in a Shakespeare play tonight, Othello. She has the lead, Desdemona, so I get to go see it.
Where's it at?
It is at Interlochen Arts Academy, a world-renowned art school in Northern Michigan. And she, so it's very exciting. She teaches there, and she also is starring tonight, so I can't wait to see it. Also, I have a fish joke, two of them actually. I looked for a 4th of July fish joke, and the only one I got was don't have a crappy 4th of July. That was kind of funny and great, you know. And then what did this is for Courtney. We're going to give her first a chance to answer first, and no shame if you don't know the answer, but what did the fisherman say to the magician?
I don't know what.
Anybody else have a guess?
What did the fisherman say to the magician? So, whoops.
Someone knows it.
No. Let's see. What did the magician say to? Let's see. No. What did the fish?
All right, I'm going to just say it. Pick a cod, any cod.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and
that's
it's our cod, so.
Yeah, we have these flimsy fishy jokes throughout the time, and we just look them up and we try to find fish jokes. And I have my fish earrings on that Ellie made for me a couple of weeks ago. See, they're little koi fish with big.
Super sweet.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And you guys have fish. Where are your fish earrings?
Oh, I don't have them on. We went round today. We're doing like, I don't know, the world or something.
Well, it would be nice if you told one of your partners what the kind of earrings we're supposed to have. Like, I don't have fish and you guys have circles.
Well, we'll plan that on Tuesday. That's
right.
I'm putting that on my agenda.
And we are, we have to coordinate our clothing, but we are like only 2 hours away from wine time. So we have to get prepared for the evening when we get.
That's right.
Hey, I'm going to go to First Friday. Do you know what that is?
Yes. First Friday of the month. Well, we call it third Friday around here, but first Friday of the month, there's probably a party somewhere.
It's the art right down in Central Phoenix, right? The art walk.
Oh, nice. Art walk.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of things. They have bands going, and they have the museums open. They have it's really, really fun. I haven't been for like 4 or 5 years, and
Oh, that
uh,
sounds like fun.
yeah, one of my friends leads a huge, like a whole block long of drums. And so people
Wow.
drum and you can hear it all over the place. It's really kind of
That is
fun.
cool. We have the Blue Angels here this weekend and they're practicing right now.
Ooh,
And they
oh
go
my
right over
gosh.
my house. So it's pretty cool. We're going tomorrow. We're going to be sitting right down on Lake Michigan, watching them go over the lake and
Oh
do their
Oh,
show.
it's
my
my
gosh.
favorite.
Going to
It's
be
One of
really
my favorite
fun.
things too. I
Yeah, I
love
can't wait. They
that.
haven't been here for 2 years because of, we don't say the word, but um, so I'm going to throw it over to Trish because she knows Courtney better than anybody. And we're so excited to have Courtney here today because I have so many questions and comments and just she's an inspiration. So Trish, over to you to introduce your daughter.
Yeah, this is my daughter, Courtney, and Courtney Neugart. And I so appreciate you coming into the CodPast today, honey. And it's an honor for me because I don't even get you for whole hour by yourself. And so for you to move all of the parts, the working parts of your life over so that you would be on our CodPast is a really big deal to me, and I really appreciate it. Courtney is just amazing. I mean, she's an incredible business brain, and I always love helping women to achieve their dreams because I always think if we have more women achieving their dreams, that the world will be a little bit more loving and motherly. I love men, but we need to have more half and half. And so I really appreciate that she's so good in business. But she's just an incredible mother, incredible wife. She's been, I mean, I want to cry. She's been an inspiration as a daughter. She's been teaching me things since she was probably like this big little. And she'd go, no, mom, you are not going to wear that to work. No way. No mother of mine is going to dress like that. And I said, what did I have, like a fashion police baby or something, And so I would go in and change clothes, and sure enough, she was right. So she has worked really hard to be who she is. She is an incredible, devout Christian. Her church is so much fun that my friends say, hey, can we drive down to Courtney's church? I'm like, no, it's an hour and a half long. And last time I went to 4 churches and got them all wrong. So trying to find hers. But anyway, she's an amazing woman and amazing daughter. And I appreciate all of my children. I'm very blessed. And they've all been my teacher. They've all been my teachers. So, I always tell the kids, it's not my fault you picked me, because our kids pick us to teach us stuff. That's how I think. And so I don't think it's parents teaching their children. I think it's the children teaching their parents. And there are a lot of parents that really kind of need some training. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. And welcome, Courtney. Welcome to our CodPast. Fishy past creates our brilliant future.
It hooks it.
It hooks it.
Fisherman.
Not that you've had a fishy past. Your mom had a fishy past.
Well, one thing
I certainly have a past.
So Courtney, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, all about yourself, just what you would, if you were going to be telling somebody that, what would people say about you? What would you, how would they explain you?
Let's see.
Or you?
I have been married for, it'll be 19 years this year. Together we have 3 children. I have my daughter, Brittni. She was 5 when my husband and I got married. She's 25 now. And then together, my husband and I have Jaxon, who will be 19 in August, and Alisandra, and she will be 14 in December. I've been a realtor. I've had my license for 16 years. I love life. I love Jesus. I love to do anything that's exciting, outdoorsy. I love mountain biking and hiking, and I love taking care of my body and being healthy. And I love people, so I love to care for people. Uh-oh, I can't hear anybody.
Sorry, that was me. That was awesome. One of the questions that I had for you is that since I've known Trish the last year, I've gotten to know you a little bit, of course, and is just how is it that you have a kind of, maybe tell us a little bit about the Bella Realty Group and how you founded that? Because when I see what you do on social media, and you're so consistent, you're so thorough, you're so positive, you're so professional, and you make it look like it's just easy butter. And I know it's not easy, but you are always on there. You always have something interesting to say or to, to post. And I just was wondering a little bit about your realty group and also about how you manage your social media. And
Sure. So the Bella Realty team started, let's see, gosh, it will be 5 years in December. And one of my very best friends and I, we started it. When we founded it 4 years ago, we had 16 girls that were on our team at first. That kind of dwindled down. We had a core group of about probably 6 girls for a while, and we mentored those girls. They were all brand new agents, and we got them and helped them to get to a level that they were producing. And then last year, or gosh, was it 2020? I swear that whole thing that we don't talk about, it makes me question like the last couple of years.
See, Laura, it's exactly how she trained me. She does not want me to remember times and dates. It's the thing.
So I think it might have been actually 2021, my best friend that I founded the Bella Realty team with, she was having her second little boy in a year and a half. So 2 little ones, whereas my kids are all older, like I said. And it's a lot to train girls to take on new agents. And one thing that we realized was that our production had gone down. So our ability to help our own friends and family buying and selling real estate, we weren't keeping those relationships as close because we were so worried and so focused on helping these other girls build their real estate business. And so when she approached me and said, Courtney, I can't train any girls right now. I need to just focus on my babies. And I looked at my production over the last 3 years that we had the team, and I said, I miss being in production. And so we said, hey, it's just going to be us for now. It was really difficult to tell the girls because they're all girls that I love so much and I care for, but they're all doing incredible. So all of their businesses are doing fantastic. And we're all still very close, but the Bella Realty team right now, and possibly someday in the future when Mandy's little boys are grown, there will be a time where we will be able to train other girls again, and hopefully our business will be at a point where it just doesn't stop. So that's a little bit about the Bella Realty team. And then what was the other question that you asked me?
the other question was kind of about how you're so consistent with your social media.
Oh, social media.
And you're so creative with your social media. Is that all you because you're so talented, or did you learn it somewhere? I mean, you just do a great job.
Thank you. I'm kind of a believer in not recreating the wheel. So I believe, there's a lot of realtors that I have become friends with that are inspiring to me, that have taught me a lot of what I know. I've taken a lot of classes. I've just got to, it just takes, like with anything, with working out, with anything in life, you have to be consistent at it in order for it to work. So I just, that is part of my business each and every day is, is doing some kind of a post. I really try not to post a lot about real estate because that's just a portion of who I am. And I think people don't want to be sold to, and I'm just not a salesy type person. So yes, I'm a realtor, and yes, I'm very passionate and I love what I do. But that's not the only thing about me. And I genuinely care about what other people have to offer. So I want other people to know who I am, not just as a realtor.
So you market your brand, and your brand is all of you and all of your characteristics and all of your passions and yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll chime in here. Well, I just will. I'm willing to do this. What was it like being raised by your mama? Because we love her so much, but I know the parent-child relationship is so different. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that, Courtney.
Sure.
In the fish world, that is a can of worms. Over.
And yeah, and I don't care if you open the can of worms. I am who I am, and that's all that I am.
Yeah. So my mom is probably the hardest working woman that I've ever known in my whole life. And her career has always been her yes, her children were a very important achievement, but I think growing up, I got to see what a woman that just works all the time looks like. And so as a woman, I said, I want to be able to do it all. Whereas I feel like my mom did it all, but I feel like that was a struggle for her. She wanted to be working all the time. Like, I had a nanny that lived with me from the time that I was 5 until I think I was 16. And that nanny, she taught me how to cook. My mom, she cleaned our house. So I didn't know how to cook or clean when I got married to my husband, because we just had somebody that did that for us because my mom was working all the time. And so one of the things that I vowed when I was growing up, I said, I want to be able to manage all of those things. And it's hard. It's really stinking hard. But my mom is an incredible woman. I love the fact that my mom was a health nut before it was like the cool thing to do. Like, she always, used essential oils on us when we were growing up. She would sage our house, and I would have friends coming over to the house like, what's this? My mom taught yoga my whole life. So I got to grow up learning how to do yoga. And then when I became an adult, it was like a really popular, cool thing to do. So I love my mama. We come from an incredible family. My mom's mom, my grandma, is I miss her so much. She was like the best grandma. Both of my grandmas were, but she was very, very just grounded in family and, bringing up her children and all of those things that I wanted to encompass, of having my mom being the career woman, the successful woman, the woman that was, always being given notoriety. But I also wanted to encompass what both my grandmothers had, and that was they were home for their children, and they cooked and they cleaned. I don't clean. I have somebody that does that, but I do like to cook. But so yeah, that's a little bit about my mama.
That's great. I love it. What do you think, Trish? Is that your memory as well?
Yeah, I joke around, but I always say I was really mean.
She was strict.
I was raised by a military dad who was super strict, but we never resented it. I mean, we got spankings all the time, and and he really he had a strong thing about what was right and what was wrong. And I grew up in a really tough family, but I thought it was normal. Like, I never resented it. So weird. People are like, why don't you resent that? I got spanked with a belt, and I thought I deserved it. So I didn't resent it. It wasn't.
I did too.
It wasn't any. And so the only thing I knew about family is, that your kids are a direct outcome of your training. You're training them. And but my kids had a hard time. I had them when I was really young. I didn't know much about parenting other than I loved them dearly and I wanted to do the best. I didn't have real stable situations with men, and so they had to deal with all of the other stuff, and I think that Deborah, you said the other day about life is like you sign up for something and you think it's going to be this thing, they go, oh, you're going to have a baby. Within 24 hours, you're going to have a new baby. And you go, oh, good. And then they give you the baby and you go, well, what do I do now? Like, I don't know what to do. And it's kind of like that in life. Like, you get married, you think you're going to be with somebody, and all of a sudden, no, it's not going to happen like that. And so a lot of those disruptions happened to my little children. And there's a part of me that makes me sad about that. Like, why couldn't I have controlled this better, this better, this better, this better? And Courtney's right. I was semi-panicked most of the time about making my careers work, because a lot of times I ended up being the breadwinner. I was the one making the money. And if I didn't, a lot of other things were going to fall apart. And so, so it was just hard on them. And I have always said to them, I'm sorry I was such a mean mother, but like I did the best I could. And then I tell them it's their fault because they picked me. So, so I think, I don't know, you just don't know what life's going to bring you. You just go, I don't know, I guess it's going to be, I think I wanted two things for my children when I had them. And that was to be of service to others and to find their own joy in life, find their own happiness. And my kids are as different as night and day, and they've been through their own huge trials and tribulations, but haven't we all? Haven't we all? And if we can develop faith, I'm just such a giant believer. I have believe right in front of me and joy right in front of me. And it's like, I believe what Jesus taught, and Jesus taught, believe in me and you'll find joy. And so that's what I have practiced from day one of my life is, okay, how can I get closer to Jesus and how can I do a better job? And so, we're just all, we're all something in working, right? We're all in a process. I mean, nobody has the answer. I mean, I loved it, Deborah, when you said that the other day. It's like, life is a crapshoot. And it is like, even each day you wake up and you go, oh, I have these appointments today. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go teach yoga tonight. Boom, boom, boom. And then you go, oh no, like the other day, Courtney had asked me for a couple of weeks, hey mom, will you go to my yoga thing? I'm doing this great thing with my company, and we want you there because you're a yoga teacher. I'm like, Courtney, this is so exciting, blah, 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 blah. And so what do? I go, I got to go get my toenails done before I go to the class, because she's going to be showing me off and I don't want to have yucky toenails. So I'm sitting in the chair and Courtney calls, hey mom, hi honey, I can't wait to see you. I'm so looking forward to yoga. She goes, mom, it's starting in 10 minutes. Like, where are you?
No, let's just be clear. I called an hour before because even though mama doesn't like to say this, she is typically late to everything. And I wanted to make sure that she was going to be on time for this because it was a class. It was going to be starting at a specific time. So I called an hour before, and she just sounded like, I expected to hear the air conditioning from her car. And it just sounds kind of quiet, like maybe she's at home and she lives an hour away. So I said, Mom, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm just going to get my toes done. And I said, Mom, you are an hour away. It starts in an hour. She frantically told the lady, I'll come back. And she ran out. And she was there on time. It was
That
great.
is so awesome. Good for you, Trish. Well, Courtney, I was going to ask you that we are four extremely spiritual women. And I know, because I know all of us, but we thrive on that's one of our drivers. Faith, Trish said earlier, faith. Tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey and how it augments your daily walk. Like, what is it that, we were talking a couple of days ago, how, just kind of floating on air. And part of it is because we are, we have Jesus's yoke and we don't have our own. So tell us a little bit about your spirituality.
Well, gosh, I mean, I was raised by believing parents and grandparents. I went to Catholic schools as a young child. My mom raised me in an Episcopalian church, which Robin Williams would call that Catholic light. If you haven't seen his live on Broadway, I highly suggest it. It's hilarious. Anyways, but when I was in 4th grade, I had a friend of mine invite me to summer camp. And I went with her, and that was the first time that I really remember actually accepting Jesus into my life and having this personal relationship with Jesus. And so that kind of sent me on a trajectory. I did, I was a really good kid until I turned 16, and I would do Young Life. I would do, there was a big, huge Baptist church we lived in Central Phoenix, North Phoenix Baptist Church. I would go to youth groups there. I would go to summer camp every summer. And so Christ has always been a pretty important part of my life. My grandparents on my father's side used to teach, do Bible studies and have, life groups at their house. My mom's mom, my grandma on her side, she has just always been the biggest prayer warrior. And of course, my mom, you guys know my mom, she's just always been a prayer warrior and, loves so much about faith and spirituality. But I know you asked about what that looks like daily for me, or do you want me to go into like my CodPast where I fell away from Christ?
Wherever you're comfortable, Courtney. It's just that all of us have had journeys. And I think what we were talking about, the first half of our life is research and development, and we're just learning, and we're all just human beings. And, when fear comes in of, going for it, or if you got a chance, take it, right? We have let this fear interfere. And so just kind of, whatever you feel comfortable talking about, because I think we all benefit from each other.
Sure. Well, I was molested by my stepbrother from the time that I was 6 until I was about 13. And I think that started when I was 13, a change in my life where I thought my body was going to be the only thing that meant anything to anybody. And I actually had a camp counselor from camp who took my virginity at 13. And that kind of, even though I was still getting straight A's and playing sports and doing all of the things, I think the inside of me was slowly just dying. And by the time I was 16, my parents had seen that my grades at that time started falling. I wasn't going to, I played club volleyball. I wasn't doing the things that were important to me. And I started hanging out with the wrong kids that were smoking pot and drinking and, being with boys. And my mom, being that she was raised in she was born in Germany, she was raised in Japan, she was an Air Force brat. She saw quickly that I needed to get out of that situation. So my parents put me on a plane to the Czech Republic, and I went to an American-run boarding school for, I was gone for a total of almost 2 years. I came home right before I turned 18, and I look at that experience, as it probably did save my life and kept me away from, ruining. I didn't have a normal high school where I went to prom and went to all of these things, but I learned about not being a victim, allowing your past to make you who you are, but not to settle in it, to say like, hey, yes, I was abused, I was molested when I was younger, but I'm not gonna let that hold me back. I'm gonna let that make me stronger, and I'm going to talk to other girls and teach them about faith. Which, mind you, when I came home at 18, I definitely had a couple of years where I went out and I experienced life and went kind of off the deep end. But I met my husband right before I turned 21, ended up getting pregnant right away. My whole family wanted me to get an abortion. That's pretty heavy right now with everything that happened last week. And because I didn't know this man, and I was a full-time student at ASU, and my husband's a lot older than me, and they thought I was just going to ruin my life if I had this baby. And another thing, when I was in the Czech Republic, I had major surgery, which was very stressful for my mom and my dad. I had an ovarian cyst that had ruptured and corroded my insides, along with appendicitis. My appendix was about to rupture. And with that surgery, they had to take almost my entire left ovary. So my dad, he said, just tell me my daughter will be able to have kids. And the doctor said, I can't tell you that. And so when I got pregnant, I definitely contemplated having an abortion. But I was also scared, like, what if I can never get pregnant again? And luckily, my husband turned out to be an incredible man. And here we are, 20 years on the other side of that. And I have an incredible son that I would, my Aunt Darlene, who told me I needed to get an abortion, she has come to me so many times and said, Courtney, I'm so glad you didn't do that. We love Jaxon so much. And yeah, so that's a little bit about my CodPast.
But I also see that you took your trials and tribulations, as many of as I know the four of us have, and made positive out of it. And so I have so much respect and so much admiration for you.
Thank you.
And also how many people you're going to help by being vulnerable like you just were. Because when we're vulnerable and open, our lives just magnify. And there's a song called Masterpiece by the song by what's his name? Oh my gosh.
Is it Toby Mac?
No, it's the same
No.
guy who loved God, loved people. Anyways, it's a beautiful song called Masterpiece. And I just cried to it in the car the other day, because it said, here's how I took you apart, and because I'm building a masterpiece. And I'm like, oh, I'm a masterpiece. And that made me cry so much, and appreciative of all the things that I've been through, because that's the reason why we're becoming masterpieces for God.
Yeah.
And so
He makes beauty from our ashes, that's for sure.
And also just inspiration for others, Courtney. I mean, one of the things I heard you say, and I know the rest of us feel this way, is no victimhood, right? Like there's no benefit to being a victim to the things that have happened to us. If we can inspire, what you just did with your story, and you've also processed your story in such a way, you've made lemonades out of what other people would consider lemons. Because at the time, it was lemons. I'm sure it was very confusing, especially if you had family members giving you advice that didn't resonate with you, but you stood in your faith and your truth, and you did exactly what you felt was the right thing to do. And that's just totally inspiring. That's exactly what everybody should do. So good for you.
Thank
How old,
you.
how old is Jaxon now?
He'll be 19 in August.
Wow. What's he doing now?
So Jaxon is my middle child. He is my strong-willed, gotta figure it out for himself. And last year he moved to Illinois right before his 18th birthday to live with his best friend. That best friend isn't the best for him, but he's working as an auto mechanic. He actually moved out of his best friend's house, which is probably a very good thing for him. But he's in a small little town in Illinois, and he's working as an auto mechanic, and he's doing pretty good. So he's going to be an incredible man someday. Jaxon has on his own baptized himself 3 times at summer camp. He has strayed away from his faith. But I know that God's going to use his story, and he is going to write an incredible testimony, just like he did with my story. So.
Well, and we're studying Hebrews right now, and Hebrews talks about don't drift, or if you are drifting, know that you're drifting and come back, just come back, because that's where your solid foundation is. And whether you believe it's the universe, God is the universe, or God is nature, or God is Buddha, or, well, Buddha's not God, but God is whatever you call your higher power, a higher power in your life will enhance your life and will hopefully keep you on a path that you don't live in fear and you live in love. So good for him for baptizing himself 3 times.
And Jaxon comes by his DNA in a land of rebels. So my mom was an absolute rebel. My father was an absolute rebel. We have rebels all the way through our family history, including a couple that I'm proud of. One, Benjamin Franklin, is direct lineage up above somewhere. And Gene Autry was an absolute rebel. And, Jaxon just always puts such a giant smile on my face, because he was so tough, the minute he came out, and the things that he did. And I remember my son, I was 18 when I had my son, 17 when I got pregnant, and Gene wasn't even able to really talk that well. He was barely 12 months. He started walking at 8 months. He was like just walking, and then he'd pull out the cabinets in the kitchen and crawl up to get candy or whatever out of here's this little baby up there getting, and he got mad at me for not fixing the little rug in front of the door one day, and he couldn't even talk yet. And I thought, oh my gosh, what have I had, And so the rebels in our family are long and hard, and I am so grateful, because eventually, especially if you've got a practice of faith and belief and in Jesus's words, it will save you someday. It comes right back through. And so I love, rebels with a cause is good, but rebels with an attitude is even better, because if you can hook into that faith thing, you'll always be ahead of the game. And I just love his spunkiness. I loved it from the day he was born. He wanted to do this or he wanted to do that. And I knew it was going to be tough to be his mom and dad, because it's not easy to have those spunky kids, but we all have them. And, in the Bible, it says the one that has given you the most heartbreak will end up being one of the ones that you're so grateful and proud of. And all three of my kids are run for the money. I mean, all three of them have my mom and dad's DNA. Holy moly. And they're all really different. I was walking behind them at Disneyland one time and I said, it's hard for me to believe they all came out of my body. But you know what? I'll take a renegade over a perfect kid any day because sometimes the perfect ones really suffer the most because they're trying so hard to be perfect from the time they're born, and they never really stick up for themselves, and they suffer deep wounds inside. And my kids have suffered for sure for my stuff as well as their own. But at the end of the day, you know, they just have an attitude that just Jesus has to just be like, yeah, you know.
Well, that then leads me, Courtney, to a question that I ask is if you've ever experienced something. So maybe in this context, it would be like the Holy Spirit or ghost, or, you know, some people see fairies or things like that, or UFOs. I'd love to know if you've had any experiences with a supernatural event.
Yes, I have actually. Oh gosh, the story, it's gonna take a minute for me to tell you, but so my husband used to ride motorcycles. This is when Jaxon was 2 years old. And we went down to Rocky Point, which is funny, I just got back from Rocky Point. And while we were there, we actually saw the location where my husband crashed on his motorcycle. And my husband, every time we drive past that corner, my husband's like, PTSD. But so Rocky Point does this huge motorcycle rally every year. And oh gosh, so we were with a bunch of friends on one end of Rocky Point for the morning. Everyone was supposed to come back and meet at Manny's. We got there. This is, you know, mind you, 17 years ago. So cell phones weren't really a thing then. Jeff, I had horrible heartburn from all of the spicy food and everything. And so Jeff dropped me off at Manny's. He was going to go to one of the 8,000 pharmacies that are on every corner in Rocky Point and get me some Tums. So I had to go potty really bad. And so he's like, I'll just drop you off. I'll run and go get you some Tums and I'll come right back. So he drops me off. I go to the restroom. I go sit at the bar. Some guy starts to hit on me. I order a beer and I'm just sitting there. None of my friends show up. My husband doesn't show up. And I end up, that guy starts to try to talk to me. I see some people that I've met, like friends of friends, and I just asked them, I was like, hey, can I just hang out with you guys until my husband comes back? You know, he just went to go get me some Tums. And by that time, it had probably been like 2 hours. Then close to 3 hours, I tell that group of people, hey, I'm just gonna run to the restroom really quick. And when I'm walking to the restroom, that guy who had hit on me when I first got there yells out my name. He's like, hey, Courtney. And I just walk straight back to the restroom, and out comes this woman from the office at Manny's. And she said, are you Courtney? And I said, yes. And she said, you have to get to the hospital. Your husband's been in an accident. And I knew something had happened, but I just didn't want to believe. You know, all these guys are telling me, oh, he's probably at the strip club. He probably left you, you know, all of this stuff. And I knew something had happened. So I had to go ask this group of guys that had been telling me, oh, he probably left and went to the strip club. And, you know, I had to ask them if they would take me to the hospital. The hospital was only a couple miles away, but that was right when the parade with all the motorcycles was going on. So what should have taken us about 7 minutes to get to the hospital, it took us over an hour to get there. I have no idea what's happened to my husband. So this is 4 hours after my husband leaves before I finally get to the hospital. My husband had been, at that time, I wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And one of the things he had always told me was, when you're going around a corner, always pay attention if there's sand in the road, because your back tire can kick out from under you. And that's exactly what happened. Jeff was paying attention to some idiot drunk guys on their motorcycle, and he wasn't paying attention to the corner. And when he went into the corner, his back tire flipped out, kicked him off the bike. He flew underneath a parked car, hit his head, and he was out. He was completely knocked out. And when I pull up to the hospital, Jeff is coming out. His head is bandaged. He's alive, and he's there with these two people. They tell me everything that happened. They saw the accident happen. The guy tells me that he's a registered nurse in Arizona. Somebody had called the paramedics, and the paramedics were going to try to give Jeff CPR. And he said, no, wait. If you give somebody, this is what he told me, I don't know if it's true. If you give somebody CPR before they need it, you can cause brain damage. So he told the paramedics, hold on, just wait. Let's see if he will start breathing on his own. And he did. The federales tried to take Jeff's motorcycle, which was he bought it in 2003. It was the 100-year anniversary for Harley Davidson. That was the year our son was born. It was like his pride and joy. The federales tried to take his bike. This guy said, no, we're staying right here. There used to be a trailer park that you could bring your RVs and park, and so they said, no, we'll just take it over here, we'll park it at our trailer, and we'll come with you. So they put my husband in an ambulance. They followed the ambulance to the hospital, stayed with him the entire time that he was there. So they tell me this whole story. We end up going back to get Jeff's motorcycle at their RV park. We talked to them for quite a while. I mean, they tell me everything. He gives me his card. He tells me he's also a DPS officer. So his card is embossed with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Gives me his card that year. So I think that was in November for Christmas that year. I wrote a long letter to him just saying, I can't thank you enough. You saved my husband's life. And the card comes back to me. And so I called the number on the phone and I said, this was 17 years ago. I don't have the card anymore or anything, but I called the number on the phone and I said, hey, I'm looking for Officer so-and-so. I wrote him a card. He saved my husband's life last month. I just want to, say thank you to he and his wife. And the guy says, ma'am, there's never been anybody here by that name. And I said, please just tell me, please just, if he's undercover, I understand. Can I just send it to your office and you guys can get it to who he needs to be? He said, ma'am, I swear there's never been anybody here by that name. So I have to believe that they were our guardian angels. I don't know. Never found them. So
I love that. That was a phenomenal story. Wow. Very
That's
cool.
one of our better stories. Maybe she gets the CodPast.
That is, I think
trophy.
that is a reel for the day. I do know though too that the fact that you talked to them and interacted with them and spent time with them, and they were literally angels. That
100%.
is so awesome.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I just heard the angels go over.
The blue angel just flew over. Yeah.
I heard it too.
I heard it too.
I tried to mute really fast. They're right over my house. So
the angels are still talking to us.
Yeah. I love that story, Courtney. I just love that story because they did save his life, and they also managed the situation, and they comforted you and they comforted him, and they managed his bike that they knew he loved. And that's really a great story. You're an amazing woman. You're an amazing human being, and such a privilege to know you.
That's almost like, I was just thinking a couple of times in my life, I went out with a Hell's Angel, and I think about the very first time I ever saw the Hell's Angels was with my mom and dad. I was probably about 11 or something like that. And, in those days, yeah, the press and everything else, I mean, scared the bejesus out of you about everything, that, oh, those people are evil and this. And the truth is that a lot of those bikers are really strong Christians and really, they really are hell's angels. They really, they really take difficult situations and try to really help them. And that's an amazing story. Courtney, I've only had tidbits of that. I never heard that whole story. That's amazing.
Yeah, we think about it all the time.
So when you were back in, what was the name of the town?
Rocky Point?
Oh, you're gonna go there soon, Deborah.
Oh yes, I like biker bars.
This is one of my favorite places in Mexico. I almost decided to move there and then I decided not to, but it's only an hour from the US border and it's at the very top of the Sea of Cortez. And so where the Sea of Cortez comes on in, from the Pacific Ocean, if you go all the way to the top on the other side of Baja, Mexico, Baja, then you're going over into the Sea of Cortez. And the Sea of Cortez is one of the cleanest waters in the world. Because there's almost no population around that whole Sea of Cortez, which is big. And it's where whales come from Alaska and Hawaii to come in there and have their babies because it's a protected area. So they have whales there every year from about November to February or so. And then
it's beautiful. It takes 3 hours and 45 minutes from where I live to get down there. So it's closer than going to San Diego. San Diego is just so expensive and so crowded, and
it's cold.
Crowded.
The water's cold.
Well, can we plan to go there when we do our retreat in Tubac in September? We could also go make a side trip over there.
Yeah,
we'll already be down in Tubac.
It's amazing. You can, in a lot of parts of the beach, it's one of the few beaches in the world that has sun up and sun down because of the way it's moved.
Oh yeah.
And you can walk a mile out into the water, chest high, bathtub warm, and see your feet.
Wow. So where Mom's talking about with the mile long, so over on one portion of Rocky Point, it has the largest tide differential in the world. So the water literally comes in and goes out every day over a mile. It's a great place to bring your dogs. I love Rocky Point. I've been going there since I was a little girl with my mom. So
we brought the kids there when they were barely born, and
it's another reason to find me a house, Courtney, because I'm ready to I want to be a Southwest. I am a Southwestern soul for sure. I'm ready to go. Although I will tell you,
to get here.
I will tell you, Northern Michigan in the summer, and I'm on Lake Michigan that looks like the Caribbean. It's just wooing me. It's like, you really don't want to move. It's beautiful right now. And I'm thinking, until you're frozen, but yeah, it's really nice right now.
I have a lot of friends that will go there in the summer. So I get to see all these pictures. I've never been there, but it looks incredible.
You can come to my house anytime as long as I have it.
Well, we're gonna have a retreat on Deborah's birthday, August 13th, is it?
Yep, August 13th is my birthday.
We're gonna have a one-day workshop. That's how it's kind of sizing up for. Is it going to be women or women and men? I think Byron already has his ticket.
Oh, maybe. Yes. Also, I don't know, but we have so many beaches and we have 49 wineries, and it doesn't get much better than that. And they're all around the beaches, right? So it's just one big happy summer bliss.
But I have to tell you something. I went last summer and Deborah is such an amazing host. She's such a servant, but she brought me to this one beach and I got in and I only got as far as my ankles. It is beautiful, but it is icy cold. And that was
Oh,
about as
dear.
hot as it gets. So it was not this water you're talking about. It is like, it's like iceberg cold.
Well, it
Oh
comes off
my
of
gosh.
ice, right? I mean, there
Well,
is
we just
ice.
float around. In August, it's tolerable, so we just float around. We're used to it, right?
You just jump in and you just acclimate, I'm
No
sure.
problem.
I
Yeah.
don't think I will never get used to the cold. I don't mind being a little I think for a little while when I was a teenager, we lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and at the time my school didn't allow you to wear pants. And so my sister and I are waiting for the bus every day, and in Omaha it's humid, and it's like, so it's almost like ice air because it's humid and it's all frozen. And so we would stand there waiting for the bus, and our legs are bare. And I've never, I think it just got to me about being cold. I can't stand it. In fact, yesterday I went to get a massage at Massage Envy, and I had him turn up the massage thing on high. He
A
goes,
blanket, yeah.
hi, it's
I do
100
that
degrees
too.
outside. I said, I get cold in here. I don't like all the air conditioning.
I just had the same experience last week. I said, can you put the heated table on? He's like, it's 100 degrees. I said, I know, it's cold in here.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Well, I
Well,
know we are winding down. I guess let me just ask, because usually we ask our guest if there's one piece of advice you would give our audience that has maybe changed your life or that you know might change theirs. If we could get that from you, Courtney, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, fall in love with Jesus, get to know who Jesus is, read the Bible. It has transformed my life. My marriage almost fell apart. My life almost fell apart. And I can truly, honestly say, once you are connected to your creator and you learn who Jesus is, your life will be transformed forever. So that would be my best advice. I don't know.
That is row advice. We call that row advice because everything has a fish connotation. And you know, the codfish saved the world. There's a book called How the Cod Saved the World, and it literally did in trade and in even in the early war in the United States, the Civil War. It had a real huge role. So it's kind of interesting. So
well, plus Jesus.
Yeah,
What?
that's right. The fish symbol.
The fisherman, yeah. He
Yeah,
taught his disciples to be fishers of men. So
that's
I
right.
truly hope that I lead people to find and follow Jesus, because I know just I speak from personal experience, and we talk about all the things that we've gone through in our past, and if you read the Bible, literally every story comes from some story of redemption, some story of just a transformational life change. So
I have two things to announce. One is, besides the retreat in August, one is everybody from here, from Facebook, can go over to CodPast, to Clubhouse, and go to FAC, Friday Afternoon Club, which is my college in Durango, Friday Afternoon Club, FAC CodPast, and you can ask live Courtney some questions. And I challenged Courtney yesterday to a mother-daughter show. It's going to take me a while to get this, but is that dance called something, Courtney? It's super.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I think that was what is her name? Shakira. I think it's Shakira.
I love Shakira.
I
Shakira, I
love
know when
Shakira.
you dance like that. Oh,
I
baby.
love Shakira. So maybe we
yeah.
should all learn it.
Yeah,
My
so
goal,
we're
yes, I
gonna
love
learn it. We're gonna
Shakira.
do it somehow live, but it's this really tough dance, but she's like a robot or something like that. And she falls off, and then she's like this, and then she
You're
does all
already
this.
getting it, Mama.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
working.
Shakira
I'm
is the
working on
most
it.
amazing dancer. I'm going to start taking dancing lessons and
I
horseback
do
riding
too.
lessons and
Yes.
archery lessons. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff I want to do. I
How
just,
about yoga? How about
I
yoga?
need the time.
So-
I already go to yoga. I already go to
So,
yoga.
we're gonna, I said, Courtney, let's challenge each other to learn this, and then we do it like in a line or something, but we could do it on Zoom. And we could have a whole bunch of people challenge whoever wants to learn this dance and do it together as like a flash mob.
Yes,
But
that
we
would
could
be
do
so
a
fun.
flash mob on Zoom, and everybody has to learn it on their own. And then we only have one time to practice before we're live to the audience. And I think
Love
we
it.
could get some fun, like,
I think we could get Shakira to come.
Yeah, that would be
do. She
amazing.
probably like that.
I'll
could
friend
manifest
request her on Instagram today. I'll send her a private message.
Okay.
Okay,
do
all
it.
right. Well, it's gonna take us some time to learn this stuff, but I mean, I'm working on it. It's like the one thing, like when she folds like a robot, she's like that, and she folds down. So, all right, we're gonna go to
My money
Clubhouse.
doesn't jiggle, jiggle. It folds.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you over there.
I love you, Courtney, Melissa, and
We love you,
will
Courtney,
see you
Melissa.
over
Yeah.
in Clubhouse. And those of you who want to come in and talk to Courtney, you have to go to FAC Clubhouse. No, FAC CodPast at Clubhouse. I love you. Mwah.
Do you
Thank
guys post the link in your Facebook group so people can click on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also sent it to you, Courtney.
Oh, also
I
one
have
other
it.
thing, if you need any kind of house bought or sold, call Courtney. She is the best realtor in the whole world.
In the whole
Oh.
world, the whole wide world. And she's so nice. She's so
Thank
nice. And
you.
she's so connected. So people get what they want when they want it,
Yeah,
how
she's
they want
connected to the universe, God and the universe.
She's got God on her side.
That's right.
it. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Over
Courtney.
and out. See you.
Bye.
and
Thank
out.
you.
See you guys
Over.
next week. Bye.